Hi students, welcome to Careers360. Today I'm going to talk to you about the ranking, the QS, one of the world's global rankings that you have for all the universities in the world has come out last week on 27th of April. And the law university rankings, which are specific to India, is what we are about to talk about because a lot of students ultimately want to get into one of the law colleges. And before I start talking about that, my simple request I always have is please subscribe to Careers360 as I start talking about this particular information. Now, when we talk of rankings, there are multiple global rankings. You actually have the THE rankings, which is called the Times Higher Education rankings. You have QS rankings, and then you have other rankings also. And the rankings are a sum total of a lot of parameters and a lot of factors that they actually try to evaluate. And in India, the ranking that you had for 2026 ranks OP Jindal Global University as #1 university in India and 35th best in the world. Now, the #1 university that we have in India, which is OP Jindal Global University, is what the QS ranking says. Now, what we're talking of at this point in time is the QS rankings only. Remember, we're talking of QS rankings only, right? QS is, if you look at it, there are two big rankings in the world. One is THE, which is Times Higher Education, and the other one is QS. The QS rankings is what we're talking about, where OP Jindal Global University got the 35th best world over, and in India, it is the #1 law school in the country. We'll talk about why it topped there, and we'll also talk about the parameters that enabled it to become the #1 university in the country, beating NLSIU Bangalore also. Now, in NIRF, which is the Government of India ranking, NLSU tops, right? Because it's got the best student joining the place. It's got, it's a legacy institution which has been there for a long time. It's a national institute also. And CLAT students typically prefer NLSU Bangalore than many other institutions that you have. But Jindal tops as far as the global rankings is concerned, right? Now, and after that, we actually have University of Delhi, then NLU Delhi, then IIT Kharagpur tops, right? And we'll talk about why it happens also, because it's very important for you. While we know that Jindal is a very good institution, one of the best law universities that you have in the country, not one of the best, possibly the best law university that you have in the country, but there are caveats to it in terms when you deal with NLSU Bangalore. And which is where the comparison becomes very important. For example, let's look at it. There are 5 parameters that they look at, which is academic reputation, employer reputation, citations per paper, and H index. And all this combined to a sum total, which is called the overall score. So there are 4 parameters that they're working on. Now look at data here. Academic reputation, Jindal is very good. It's one of the best universities which is having some of the best faculty around in the world, and they start recruiting faculty from all over the world so that the students here have a global immersion in terms of learning experiences. So this is perfect in every sense, right? Then you have employer reputation, which is 66.4, which is also good because being in Delhi, being in NCR, Jindal Global University has a very good advantage of the best law firms being stationed in Delhi, and they also take interns, they also place students. So they actually are doing extremely well in that perspective also. Location advantage and the fact that it's one of the best law universities in the country helps also, right? Then you come to citations per paper. Because OP Jindal Global University also is a liberal university which actually has many other courses, suddenly your publication count goes up because you actually are dealing with multidisciplinary research also. You're not dealing with research in silos only to do with law, which is the case with NLU Bangalore. NLU Bangalore is a specialized law university. Jindal Global University is not just law at this point in time. They have schools, about 10-11 schools out there, including liberal studies and journalism and finance and so on and so forth. So suddenly the research quotient keeps moving up because different schools keep working on research, and because it's multi-disciplinary, 2 or 3 schools can get together to conduct a research also. So to that extent, any multidisciplinary university has a very unfair advantage in terms of the research score and the citation score, which is where here, if you now look at it, citation is 68.1 for them and H index is 68.8 for them. Whereas for NLU Bangalore, it's 58.7 and 56.1. So there is a definite fall, which is justified and legit also, because NLU Bangalore is a specialized law university which is only having law faculty and a school of law. Whereas Jindal Global University or OP Jindal Global University has multiple schools and multiple faculties, so there is a multidisciplinary research. The thing that I have as a problem in this particular thing is the employer reputation. Jindal deserves to be at 66.4 because I told you it's based in Delhi and it's got the best, law firms around in Delhi, and Supreme Court is in India, the apex court is in Delhi, and everything works for them, right? But to put NLU Bangalore at 42.4 is a completely unfair thing. The best institutions in the country, best companies in the country want to go to NLU Bangalore to recruit. If you look at the placement rates, they're very, very high, extremely high. Every company in this country wants to recruit a graduate from NLU Bangalore. Now, because QS does a global, perception study. By the way, this is not whatever you talk about, which is the employer reputation, is perception. It depends on who receives the questionnaire and how they respond. In that perspective, when you do a global survey, NLU Bangalore might not be figuring out. But in India, if you talk to any law firm in the country, they will always prefer an NLU Bangalore student before they think of anyone else. Which is where, for me, NLU Bangalore was unfairly treated as far as employers' reputation is concerned. For me, it should top all these guys. And assuming you've done that, this university or this institution would have topped. They might not have beaten OP Jindal because in the other three parameters they're very good, by the way. In faculty, in citations, and in H-index and all. And that is a question of the process of ranking itself. But for sure, on employer reputation, NLU Bangalore doesn't deserve to have 42.4. It deserves much, much more. I'll give you one more reason why this citation is all wrong. Now look at, for example, IIT Kharagpur here. This IIT Kharagpur, it has a school of law. It's a very new thing in the sense it's been there, but it is definitely, IIT Kharagpur is not known for its law courses. But when you look at the employer reputation, citations per paper, and H-index, if you look at it, the employer reputation for this law course of IIT Kharagpur, it seems is 81.6. No way true. It is far, far lesser. The reason why it 81.6 is, they're now talking of all programs that are being offered at IIT Kharagpur, and there is a effect that is coming back where the law faculty also, law school of law also is gaining or benefiting out of it. Same thing with the citation per paper and H-index. All these three are not to do only with the law school that IIT Kharagpur has, which is where IIT Kharagpur suddenly sneaked into the top 5 law schools of the country, because they have other faculties and they also have a law school, and when they participated in the law school ranking, the other school, whatever they've done, that work accumulated, and this institution actually started gaining out of it. Otherwise, in our dreams also, you will not put IIT Kharagpur Law School as the 5th best priority after NLU Bangalore and University of Delhi and NLU Delhi. So that is the difference that I'm talking about. Here is the ranking that you have. Jindal is good. It is the best because of 3 of the 4 parameters. I genuinely believe that it beats everyone around because it has higher citations, it has higher H-index, and it has the best faculty. In fact, if you give infra, Jindal will top everyone by miles. But to say that the employer reputation of all these institutions is better than Bangalore, which is the worst, by the way, if you look at it, it's the lowest, which is completely not true, at least in the Indian context. And which is where the global rankings miss the goalpost. They don't look at the student outcome. They don't judge the student outcome. They do it based on perception. Whereas when NRF does the ranking, NRF actually has data coming from the students, coming from the institutions of how the students were placed. That is actual data. It is not perception. It's not a survey. It is data, hard data that is staring back at you. And there, NLU Bangalore will always score better than anyone else, at least in employer perception, because the student outcomes, which is placement, median salary, how many students placed, would always be better than any of these people added together. I just hope you understand. Now coming back to the whole thing of what are the 5 institutions that 8 we have. The top one is Jindal, then followed by NLU, then followed by University of Delhi, then followed by IIT Kharagpur. Symbiosis comes in as the 6th one in the 301 to 350 band. Then JNU comes in the 351 to 400 band, and NALSAR also comes in between 351 and 400. And this is the kind of rating that we're talking of. These are overall, once you cross the top 100 in any global rankings, you don't give an absolute score. You give a rank band, which is what this happened here, that these people are getting a rank band, which means that it might be 351 or 400 also. They don't do it because everyone is so close to each other and they don't want to disclose that piece. But that's a ranking that you have. The rank band is given, and the perception, the score at each parametric level also is given. And this is the employer, reputation. And this is, of course, the faculty thing. And we're talking of H-index and citation. Now, the other thing that I always have is that, of course, a university should be known for the kind of research it does. But when you deal with standalone universities, when you deal with boutique universities, it is always a disadvantage to be a boutique university. India's best university in mathematics is Chennai Mathematical Institute. It never would rank. India's best statistical institute in the country is Indian Statistical Institute. It will never rank. India's best space science technology institute is, IISSC. It will never rank. You take any boutique institution. India's best science, pure science institution is ICER. It would never rank. and on and on and on. Because of boutique universities, there is no multidisciplinary research that is happening there. Cross-functional research doesn't happen there, because of which they will always get pulled down by the research paper, and to that extent they will not rank. But the student perception always is that they'll first favor those institutions. If someone wants to do pure sciences, they'll go to ICER before they think of anyone else. If someone wants to do space sciences, they'll go to IIST. If someone wants to do mathematics, they'll go to CMI. If someone wants to do statistics, they'll go to Indian Statistical Institute. If someone wants to do law, they'll come to NLU Bangalore. But having said that, Jindal in terms of its qualities of faculty is extremely good. Jindal in terms of its research is extremely good. Jindal in terms of its access to power in Delhi is extremely good. They have the best lawyers and judges coming there and talking to the students. That kind of an exposure you will not get anywhere in the country, because it's based in Delhi. The kind of internship that they get, again, you can't get to, you won't be able to get it anywhere in the country because they're based in Delhi. So all those advantages, Jindal for sure tops the thing. But when you consider employee reputation, in my opinion, NLU Bangalore comes. So talk about reputation, credibility, access, power, and all. Jindal tops. But student will always first choose NLU Bangalore before they go on to anything else, and that will still remain the thing, because NLU Bangalore is affordable, accessible, has the best student quality. The best students always first prefer that. And that always will be an advantage for national institutions because they are priced well. And having said that, I keep repeating, Jindal is very, very good, a very good choice because of the access, the kind of faculty, the kind of learning that happens. If you're very serious about law, Jindal is the place to go. But if you want to join a national institution, NLU Bangalore is the place to go. And that is the ranking that you have. Now, having done that, what are the top best law universities around the globe? When you look at that, it starts with, of course, Harvard, followed by Oxford. Now, if you now think about it, remember the score of Jindal at 35th rank was 77 or something like that. So you actually have 99 for Harvard. Remember, Jindal was 77 or 78 if I recall correctly. Then followed by Oxford at 97.6, Cambridge is 96.7, Yale is 94.4, Stanford is 92.8, NUS Singapore is 91.8, New York University is 90.4, 89.4 for Columbia, and so on and so forth. So what you have at this point in time, you actually have this top 10. LSE is 9th, and then you have University of California, Berkeley at 87.9. That is the score. The good thing that we have is Jindal has moved up dramatically. Earlier, last year it was about, the rank was 75th or something like that. Now it's become 35th. I think it was 78 last year. This year it became 35th. And many of the Indian universities have moved up the QS ranking, which is a good thing that's happening, which means that Indian universities are now competing to be topping the global charts. Every good thing that is happening in terms of education and universities trying to compete to be up there is happening, which is a very, very good thing. And 8 of our Indian universities are in the top, are there in the QS, which is also very good, especially in the space of law, because we are not known for those kind of things, mind you. But moving ahead, we'll actually have to see how some of these numbers play out, because I do always have a problem with perception and reputation surveys ruling the ranking as compared to actual hard data ruling the ranking. I hope you as students understand my perspective about the ranking. You'll at least have an understanding of what ranking is and what you must be looking at in the ranking, so that you can take your own decision. Our job here is to explain to you how the ranking happens, tell you what the rankings are, how the ranking happens, how to read them, and how to judge the university, not just by the rank alone, but the data at a parametric level, so that it can help you take a decision. I hope this helps you. Thank you so much. Namaste.